Grenada to host 4-day symposium to create public awareness about the creative economy. Details of this story and more in the National Report.
With a flex.
January 24th, 2023, I am Chrisanne Mitchell. A 4-day symposium designed to create widespread public awareness about Grenada's creative industries will be held at the end of March. The vgh'n Mitchell-led administration has identified the creative economy as one of the 5 priority areas for 2022 to 2027, given the rapid growth of the sector and its potential to raise revenue for the country. During his presentation of the 2023 budget in December, Prime Minister Mitchell announced plans to grant 100% concessions on CET and VAT for selected production equipment to support the creative economy. At government's post-cabinet press briefing on Tuesday, Minister for the Creative Economy, Honorable Lennox Andrews, shared the government's vision of Grenada becoming a creative nation where innovation and creativity will boost long-term social and economic development. He says the Office of Creative Affairs, which is now being established, will organize the National 4-Day Symposium.
That symposium is going to be organized by the Office of Creative Affairs, which is now being established. The objective of that symposium is to raise awareness of the power of the creative economy in Grenada, its potential, its challenges. We want to exchange ideas, experiences, and very importantly, we want to chart a way forward as regards the framework, the institutional framework that needs to be put in place for the development of the creative industries.
Minister Andrews says the government will also review legislations and policies regarding the creative industry.
We would work on Grenada's national cultural and creative industry policy strategy, and as well the relative legislation. And that is very important for driving and shaping the direction of this sector. We're going to have some very special fiscal incentives to assist those who are involved in the creative industries. Those incentives include 100% concessions on CET and VAT for selected equipment for a period of 12 months. And this we hope to start by March 1st.
$2 million has been allocated in the 2022-2023 budget for the growth of the economy, and as such, a development fund will be established to provide increased access to financial and technical assistance.
So we're going to establish a creative industries development fund. And as indicated in the budget, we have an allocation of $2 million. We hope to launch this fund in the first half of the year, and through it, funding will be provided for all those who are registered, all businesses who are registered, to get support in the area of exporting their goods and services and for content.
The creative economy comprises creative industries like advertising, fashion, design, performing and visual arts, photography, film, podcasts, and computer programming. 481 individuals have received funding under the remodeled COVID-19 Economic Stimulus Support, or CESS program, and that number is expected to climb even further. During Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing, Prime Minister Honorable vgh'n Mitchell says the Secretariat is still processing applications from the more than 6,000 received.
The program has come to an end as of December 31st. We want to indicate that from the perspective of the sectors that have been impacted, the program was also successful in that we were targeting the productive sectors. And to that extent, fishing received the largest percentage of the grant funding, as much as 28%. It was followed by agriculture, which received 20%, and then agro-processing and the creative economy. So the sectors that we were targeting certainly, again, was successful. 94 new businesses received funding, and 381 existing businesses received funding. So again, we were able to provide funding to at least a little under 100 persons who benefited from the program.
The parish of St. George received the largest share of the pie, with more than $2 million disbursed to successful applicants.
St. George, partly because it's the most populous parish naturally, and perhaps the parish most driven by commercial and economic activity, received approximately $2.9 million of the disbursement, followed by St. Andrew, which received approximately $1.4 million, followed by St. David, which received $1 million, St. John, $670,000, St. Patrick, $548,000, St. Mark, $418,000, and Carriacou and Petit Martinique, $275,000. So for persons who obviously have not benefited from the program, we intend to keep your information on file because the government certainly intends to look at further opportunities that will be available to provide further grant funding or low interest cost funding to persons who wish to extend or start new businesses.
Prime Minister Mitchell said the number of applications received is a clear indication that citizens are interested in becoming entrepreneurs and small business owners as they met and exceeded targets set.
Testimony to that fact is we received over 6,000 applications for the grant program. When the reimagining of the program was conceptualized, we were looking at potentially having distributions of funding go out to about 330 persons. So we were not anticipating that we would receive as many as the 6,000 plus applications. So it was heavily oversubscribed. And that is a positive thing. We understand naturally the disappointment for the many thousands of persons who would not have benefited from the program because we were only able to date to distribute funds to 481 persons.
The program ended on December 31st, 2022. This is the National Report. The news will continue after the break.
Paging all Grenadians at home and in the diaspora to be part of the journey to 50. Reflecting on the past, planning for the future as we get ready to celebrate our 49th anniversary of independence. Tuesday, February 7th, 2023. Events to be observed for our 49th anniversary of independence include table tennis tournament at the CSA building, February 3rd and February 4th. Independence Calypso Finals, Sutter's Bus Terminal, 8 p.m. February 3rd, February 4th. Open water swimming competition, Grand Mall Beach at 9 a.m. and the beach tennis at Grandans Beach from 11 a.m. Also the Independence Boxing Tournament, February 4th, 8 p.m. at the Youth Center. National Independence Church Service, Grenada Trade Center, Sunday, February 5th, 3 p.m. National Colors Day, the Inter-Ministerial Display, and the 49th Cultural Extravaganza, 7 p.m. at the Granville Burst Terminal, February 6th. Then the Made in Grenada Expo, Military Parade and Rally, 10 a.m. at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium, Tuesday, February 7th. Happy 49th, Grenada.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives is identifying spaces to set up storage containers as part of its food security enhancement project. The World Bank funded project will cost $16 million. Spaces at the Maribor Propagation Station, the Marketing and National Importing Board at River Road, the community of Ladig and the island of Carriacou are being considered. Minister for Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives, Senator the Honorable Adrian Thomas, speaking at government's post-cabinet briefing held at the Parliament building on Tuesday, said the storage containers will help minimize the high level of spoilage experienced by farmers.
We have been experiencing difficulties in terms of when farmers have excess production and they cannot get sales for it immediately. It results in quite a number of quantity of the products being spoiled, and we really and truly we cannot afford it after they put so much inputs into production. So we'll be starting a 4 pilot projects in regards to storage facilities. They will be located in Maribor, one in Maribor and government properties, one in Ladig with a group of farmers who are very much interested in this. We'll be utilizing the facilities at MNIB and in River Road, and also we'll not forget our sister isle of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. So those 4
storage facilities will be pilot projects, and we are hoping to answer some of those questions in regards to lack of storage facilities for some of the perishable items, such as eggs and fresh vegetables.
Designs for the storage containers are currently being done by a local engineer with the intended timeline to have structures on the ground by the middle of 2023. Grenada's Minister for Economic Development and Planning, Honorable Lennox Andrews, calls on Grenadians to cooperate with enumerators conducting the population and housing census. A new deadline of September 2023 has been set for completion of the census. It has been significantly delayed through many challenges, including the COVID-19 pandemic and a general lack of information by many on the importance of the exercise.
We want to complete the 2022 population and housing census by September of this year. The population and housing census is an important exercise that provides very important data for government to make informed decisions and to design policies and programs that are rigorously adapted and suited to the needs of our people. And that population census, that information, will give us the real data, the real information of what is happening on the ground.
Minister Andrews says the data is critical in assisting the government in its plans to formulate and implement policies and programs that will benefit the people.
I want to take this moment to ask our people to please provide the support to the enumerators as they come to your doorstep and to ask you some basic questions. The information is highly confidential, so don't be afraid to say to the enumerators, tell them the story as is, as regards your household, the number of persons living there, whether you have a fridge, whether you have a stool, how many rooms you have, and so on. Basic information, but it's highly confidential. But that's the kind of data that, as government and as policymakers, need to be able to plan and to design projects and programs that can help our people live a better life.
Finally, in the news, ministerial delegation of ministers and permanent secretaries paid a visit to the Housing Authority of Grenada on Monday. The delegation comprised Honorable Philip Telesford, Minister for Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, Senator the Honorable Gloria Ann Thomas, Minister of State with responsibility for social development and gender affairs, Mrs. Ann Isaac, Permanent Secretary with responsibility for community development and housing, and Mrs. Veronica Charles, Permanent Secretary with responsibility for social development and gender affairs. They were greeted by General Manager of the Housing Authority, Mr. Ronnie Sylvester, and other staff. Honorable Philip Telesford spoke about his visit and commended the staff at the Housing Authority for their dedication.
The Housing Authority, as an organization, must understand very clearly that they must see themselves as a business entity being able to contribute to government coffers, being able to stand on their own two feet, as it were, and be able to operate efficiently and independently with a level of professionalism that is coveted by many. We expect to see them rise to that level. So far they have been doing good, I must add. I cannot discredit them for anything. It's quite a lot of moving pieces that they are trying to pull together at this time, and we give them the fullest support. We meet with the board every month, religiously. We meet with the board, and when I say religiously, I mean we do so not just for meeting's sake, to get updates and to help to direct them in the way that we expect to see the organization go.
The visit concluded with a meeting with the senior management team of the Housing Authority. During government's post-cabinet press briefing on Tuesday, Minister Telesford provided an update on the status of the Chinese low-income housing units. He said that the application process is complete and it is government's hope to have the units ready by the end of June 2023. A committee has been organized for screening purposes so that the houses can be distributed to those in need. The Housing Authority, he said, is actively involved in engagement with joiners for bidding.
The Housing Authority of Grenada has engaged, I'm aware that they have engaged a number of joiners to bid for the construction of closets and cupboards to outfit those units, because we want to ensure that when people occupy those units that they are comfortable enough. And so that is happening as we speak. Presently they're doing samples to ensure that they can deliver within a particular time and within a particular cost range, that we do not run over budget. So we're going to take copious notes as to how it is done to ensure that it is done according to specifications.
That story has brought us to the end of the National Report for Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. On behalf of the entire news and production team here at the Government Information Service, I am Chris Mitchell, saying thank you for joining us.